is the tier 10 set bonus make or break? What do you think?
The 2-piece is nice. The 4-piece is kind of iffy. There have been fights where I really wish I had an extra cooldown, even if it was dodge, 12% dodge.
Right.
But I would not use the 4-piece set as my general tanking set. It'd only be there for certain fights. 2-piece I use all the time though. I love the 2-piece.
Yeah. I rock the 2-piece in a majority of the fights, except for I mean on progression I don't even use the 2-piece on progression, but definitely for normal everyday tanking, 2-piece is really strong for threat. But I mean, actually, Hammer of the Righteous is actually scaling better than any other ability we had. Before it was like Shield, or Shield of Righteousness was really strong because block value was on gear. Now I think there's like what, 1 piece in Ice Crown that actually has block value on it, maybe 1 or 2 pieces, but
Yeah, they've pretty much gotten away with it.
yeah, they shied away from it because tanks knew it wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, I mean, and then so the second part that Lukinator asks is it worth getting the crafted pants if he's already got the 264 pants off Lord Marigar? I know what you're going to say, and the answer is yes. The crafted pants are awesome.
Read my mind.
Yeah, the crafted pants, they're pretty much their best in slot. Given any 277, even in, yeah, that's what I meant. 25 heroic 277 gear is still not as good as the 264 crafted pants because there's nothing else in that slot that's got bonus armor on it. That's just plain and simple. I mean, you might have something that's got more health, but you're giving up what, about 1,1500 armor, something like that. So,
And that's a ridiculous amounts of EH.
yeah, ridiculous. So yes, the crafted pants are pretty much best in slot for majority of the fights. And then his third part of the question is, what do I think about the crafted boots? I don't have them, but you have the crafted boots. So what do you think about the crafted boots?
I do. I like them, especially when I first got them, because at the time you have such an, like, if you're going into ICC, you most likely will have a overabundance of defense, and while defense is nice, we can stand to lose some defense if you're well past the cap, and that's what those boots provide for me. Just stats in other areas.
Yep. And I would have got them too, but before Ice Crown, I started raiding Ice Crown. I did a look and I made a little list of all the gear that I was gonna get, and I saw the boots off of Dreamwalker, and I thought that the 264 were very comparable to the crafted ones. So, and I knew that fight was really easy because I did the 10-man version. I was like, oh, we're gonna be able to do this, and this is gonna be on farm almost instantly. So, I just waited for that drop rather than spending my own coin to get boots, which were probably gonna be replaced by those. Now, the way it actually worked out is I didn't get them until we started doing heroic. So I actually got the heroic ones before I even saw the normal ones. So, yeah, I was stuck with the 258 ones in TOC for quite some time.
Oh yeah, like once the heroic ones drop, because we got her on farm as well now.
Yeah.
She's for heroic, it's something that I'll probably replace my boots because they don't have any bonus armor on it.
Right. And that's the thing is, like, people need to understand what they're gonna be capable of getting. If you're not capable of being able to kill Dreamwalker on 25 consistently, probably go for the crafted boots because you're probably not going to be able to replace them. But I mean, hey, if your guild's got the 25 normal version on farm, and someday down the road you're going to be doing heroic mode, that fight on heroic and regular is very simple. So I mean, it's up to you if you're going to replace those boots if they do drop. So it's just the likelihood of how often you're going to be able to see those things potentially drop. But what was his last question here? Yeah, we already answered that question. I'm just going to go on to the next guy. Let's see. All right, this is the question that me and Caine both kind of were wondering. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this guy's name that asked it, but basically he talked about what he thinks. What do we think about them nerfing specs in Cataclysm, i.e. with Mastery, via the block amount to grab improved judgments and so on and so forth. So, Caine, go ahead and say what you're going to say, then I'll just piggyback off of you.
Alright, the way we were reading the question was basically, he was questioning whether or not we are going to be able to go into different trees where if you put, say, 51 points in prot and you put points in ret, you're not going to get any more points
Right.
to improve your prot abilities. And that's not how we're reading it from what Blizzard's been saying and trying to clarify, in that if you put, say, 50 points into prot or 51 points into prot, you are a prot tank.
Right.
Everything that you do is for prot. So every additional point that you put in, doesn't matter if it's in holy, doesn't matter if it's in ret, you still get points. Those points will improve your prot set, because that
Right.
is where the majority of your points are. So that's wherever your mastery is, wherever your most talent points are, that is your mastery. That is where your points are going to improve. So if you go 20 into any of the other trees, it doesn't matter. Those 20 points, even if it's in another tree, will improve these passive bonuses to prot.
Right. Yeah, and we wanted to make sure that we want to clarify that. Make sure you guys, Blizzard's not going to penalize you for specking into other trees. They're not going to take away mastery points because you put 14 points into ret or whatever, however it's going to look. But I mean, they basically, this question kind of made it sound like this guy is expecting to put all his points into prot to maximize his mastery. That's not the case. Like Caine said, whatever you have most points in is where you're going to derive all your mastery bonuses from. So like he said, if you got 51 points in prot, no matter where the other points go, they're still going to affect your prot masteries, because that's where the predominant of your points were spent. So yeah, next question. Let's see. Oh, that's another. Oh, okay. I guess we could answer this one real quick. Basically, this guy is asked, is it good to get the two-piece bonus tier 10, or is it best to go for the 264 items? If he says he has access to tokens, but he mainly does 10 mans. So what I would say is, if you have access to tokens, I think the helm 264 is pretty much the tier helm there isn't anything better than the tier helm, I would think, past 264. So I actually have the 277 tier helm. But as opposed to the other items, I wouldn't necessarily go for the 251 tier 10, unless you could guarantee maybe you're going to get the 264 token. So, but it all depends on what slot. Maybe, I mean, the offset chest, I would definitely wear that over the tier 10 chest. Granted, even if if the tier 10 chest was 264, and same thing with the legs. Obviously, like we said before, I would definitely use the 264 crafted legs over the tier 10 legs. But that kind of feel that same way there, King.
I agree. I mean, that's the kind of the problem we're having right now, is that our offs, like, when it comes to trying to get like a 4-piece, that means that your only if you're looking for best in slot gear and trying to get a 4-piece, your only options is chest, head, shoulders, and hands, because your legs, the crafted legs, have bonus armor, whereas the tier legs do not.
Right.
And the tier chest, our tier chest, has 0 defense. And considering all the other pieces that we have that are very good and don't have defense on it, you might actually drop below defense cap 540 if you get the chest, because you're losing like 100 defense and your legs don't have anything. That's another 100 defense less.
Yep. And when we get up into these high tiers of gear, having to gem and enchant for defense is really the last thing you want to do. I mean, you pretty much want to keep your stamina gemming and keep your stamina enchants or your effective health enchants where you can. But I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, if you're going to go 4-piece, you're going to obviously have to get the helm, the shoulders, the chest, and the gloves. And, and like you said, you're probably going to, depending on where your gear is at, you might drop below decaps.